Designing effective soccer drills is the key to improving your team's skills and performance. In this video, we'll break down the steps to create drills for your team that are both challenging and fun, so you can elevate your coaching game. When designing soccer drills, we start with an objective. What is an objective for a drill? Well, it can be something we have seen in a game. For example, we have seen that we always try to attack through the middle, so instead we want to try attacking through the wings. Or it can be that our team has struggled with throw-ins, so our objective is to practice throw-ins. Now, how we structure the drill is always with the objective to create context for players to experience game-like situation. Again, the objective of the drill keeps changing based on what we see in games and practices, but the structure objective is essentially the same where the game-like situation changes based on the objective. What about the player's objective? That one is also constant: to win. We have to design drills where the players will intrinsically be motivated to do well, ideally to score a goal, even if it's a small portable goal. Individual practices without opposition can be valuable, but there is no space for that in team sessions, especially at the youth levels where organized soccer time is very limited. However, an opportunity to win a competition is the heart of the game, so don't take that away from the drills. One thing to set straight: there is no perfect drill or set of drills for every occasion. Otherwise, everybody will be doing just them. It's about setting the context to do the actual coaching that we want to do. Here is an analogy: if we want to teach a kid how to experiment painting with the blue color, we wouldn't just tell them use as much blue color as possible. Instead, we might ask them to paint the sky, which is an objective they would understand and be motivated to accomplish. Then maybe suggest adding some clouds, which can result in some different shades of blue. Then maybe we would ask them to think about how this would look like at sunset, which will then create curiosity and maybe further research by the student outside of class. This not only gives lots of opportunities to use the blue color and its shades, but also develops the context, so the student knows when and how they should use it. So in the future, when they need to paint a lake, they will be able to use the skills they acquired and use shades of blue, rather than get stuck because nobody is telling them which color to use. Let's say that our objective is that we want them to attack through the wings. That means that we shouldn't just give them a point for attacking from the wings. Instead, design a drill where it would be hard to attack through the middle, but easy to attack on the flanks. Great, we have our objective and we design a simple layout of what we want to see: a 3v2 situation where wingers on each side start wide, while the defenders start in the middle will do that. We haven't specified the size of the playing area, the length of the drill, or what the other players on the team should do in the meantime. Let's talk about structure. There are three key components of defining the structure of a drill: the players, the repetitions, and the coaching tips. The general rule is that the more players are involved in a drill at the same time, the less intense it is. Let's think about it: 1v1 is more intense than 9v9, so if we have a 1v1 drill, we would play for say 6 seconds, then rest a bit more between repetitions. If we are in a 9v9 game, we would be able to play for almost a minute without stopping for a break, because there will be times when some players is far from the ball and the intensity is lower. With 8 to 10 players, we want each player to be able to alternate between playing and resting, and playing session time is about 8 to 12 seconds. If we were playing 6v4, maybe the playing time would have been 12 to 15 seconds. 8v6 is even longer, often 30 seconds or more. The benefit of fewer involved players at a given time is that there will be more player actions: passing, receiving, shooting, running. Okay, so the expectation is that the 3v2 will take about 8 to 12 seconds, plus switching teams, so let's plan for 15 seconds for a repetition and 15 seconds for rest. Therefore, 2 repetitions in a minute. Now we should talk about sets and coaching tips. If we give 2 minutes for each player to experience about 4 repetitions, it is time for a coaching tip. Before a pause for a coaching tip, you might even notice a pattern that something needs to change in the setup. For example, the starting positions are not correct, or the dimension of the field is too narrow. Even more importantly, the real coaching is happening when you see something in the player actions and you correct it, ideally on the spot. For example, after you have set up the 3v2 session, you've noticed that the winger always dribble back to the middle and shoot with decent result. Well, you can fix that by helping the defense understand how to defend that. It looks like you are coaching the defense, but really you are still fixing the context for the attacking side to be forced to try attacking on the wing. Let's suppose the winger keeps cutting to the middle, but it doesn't work and they keep losing the ball. Then the coaching tip is to ask the winger what should they do if they see that the middle is too crowded, exploit the wing. If one sentence is sufficient, then the drill can keep going on while the coaching tip is communicated. However, if you see pattern of repeating the same issue, then we will need to pause and recreate the situation with maybe a 1-minute explanation. We are ready for the big picture now. Drills are building blocks in our toolbox. We iterate, think, learn, and keep pushing forward. Figuring out which coaching tip is needed at what point and how to deliver it is a lot about what coaching is. This constant identifying of an issue, creating context and iteration and potentially adjustment of the context is never ending. There are endless permutations and combinations that we can do with this initial setup. We can make the ball start on the wings, or defenders to start at the wings, or to add a goalie, or change the objective to dribble to cone gates. The process for creating soccer drills is like this: we create a drill, then we set it up at practice. Then we adjust on the spot what we think it needs adjustment for that group. For example, what context the U8 players need is different than the U12 and is even more different than the U17 team. Then, we take the time to reflect after the practice and see what worked well and what didn't. Sometimes, there is not much more we can coach the particular group of players using that drill, when it's more important for them to practice something else. Other times, the drill is too complex for them or is simply not addressing their main concern. If the central player cannot pass to the wingers, what good does it do if the wingers know what to do with the ball? However, in most cases, we reflect, we adjust the drill with new thoughts and ideas, and we try it again at some later practice. Also, don't underestimate the fact that the players do some reflection themselves, so doing the same drill at multiple practices is only fair for the players to have some time to think about how to do better. This doesn't mean that the coaching tips will be the same, only that the structure would. This is a never-ending cycle of creating and refining soccer coaching drills. Keep it interesting, stay engaged in the process, and I promise both you and your players will have fun. You don't want to be one of the coaches that just set a drill and spend time on their phone. You want to get the maximum out of the drill and enjoy the path to success.